Hi, this is Brad with Baker County Trash Pickup. Today's video is going to be all about hot water pressure washers. There will be chapters down at the bottom, so if there's something specific you're looking for, you can jump around. But really, this video is to educate you on these products because, quite frankly, I don't know anything about hot water pressure washers. What I do know about are standard cold water pressure washers. This is the unit that I've been using since I think 2017 in my lawn care and landscape business and around the house. Let me show you some of the features of it just in case you're brand new to pressure washers. So pretty much all pressure washers are, if they're gas, is some type of gasoline engine. This is a Honda with a fuel tank. This is a muffler. This is your air filter. And it mates to a pump. This is your inlet. You would put your garden hose here and turn your water on. Here's your on-off switch. When you turn your Echo on, this one's a pull start. You have your throttle, your gas on or off. You've got your choke. This is where you would hook up your outlet hose. And when you turn the engine on, this pump creates pressure and takes this water that's coming out of your garden hose and pressurizes it out of this one. This is an adjustable pressure switch. Basically, a lefty-loosey gives you less pressure, righty-tighty gives you more. You can see a minus or a plus to adjust your PSI that way. That's your one that you hook up to your hose. And that's basically how a pressure washer works. I've been using that for years in the lawn care side of the business. I will hook up a surface cleaner. I've got a little edge blaster for going along the edge of sidewalks. But recently in the trash business, I've been using this to clean trash cans before they go to customers. I use it to clean trash cans when they come back from customers. Maybe somebody cancels, maybe somebody doesn't need 2 cans anymore, so they switch back down to 1. But the biggest use is in cleaning this weekly, this garbage truck of ours. This is a 2024 Isuzu NRR, I think, with a PacMac 8-yard rear load body. It's got a tipper there, so you wheel the garbage can up into that, it tips it, and then all that stuff compacts it. But washing this truck every week is something that most trash companies will not do, but we do because we park it right next to our house and we don't want it to smell. We don't want the neighbors to be mad at us. So cleaning the outside and the inside is what that pressure washer's been used for lately. The issue is that cold water pressure washer, it's great for dirt, but not much else. And with garbage, we're getting grease, fats, oils, goo, all kind of nasty stuff. People are throwing away used motor oil, and the cold water just can't cut through that. So it's time for an upgrade, and we're going to look at hot water pressure washers. This is an Alkota hot water pressure washer, which I know nothing about, and this is Jeff from Alkota. He's going to tell us about them.
Thank you, Brad. Well, today we have a hot water Alkota model 4405 XD. What it consists of is a Honda GX390 electric start engine, along with a high pressure water pump, fuel tank, and a hot water burner. We do have an unloader valve, which we'll talk about that.
This pump is obviously nicer than the one I have on my Echo, but this is on the Echo, this is an adjustable pressure valve. Is this the same thing there?
That's correct. That's a unloader valve, we call that, pressure unloader valve. And that what that does is when you let go of the pistol, this bypasses the water back to the inlet side of the pump.
So am I okay to use this like I do with my current pressure washer to change the pressure less or more?
You could, but we don't recommend that, Brad. What we like to use is maybe a different size nozzle to lower the pressure. That way you're not affecting the preset pressure settings.
What is this guy? I don't have this on my pump.
So this is a pressure switch that controls the burner to turn it on and off. We always want that burner to be on when the gun is pulled, and when you let go of the pistol, the gun, we want that to shut off. And that's what this does. It controls that function.
So the fact that there's hot heat, yeah, that's a good one. The fact that there's heat on this pressure washer means there's going to be a lot of new components introduced. So obviously I've got the motor and the pump on mine, but this pressure switch is something that you said it won't turn the burner on unless the trigger is pulled.
That's correct.
Okay.
So if you have an application where you let go of the trigger gun and the burner's still on, shut everything off.
Okay.
It needs service.
And then my water from the house or from wherever's coming in here.
Yes, this is a standard 3/4 inch garden hose fitting. We have a nice screen in there to filter the water.
And then at least as far as the pump, this is a sight glass. I guess check this before I start it every time.
Yes, you want to make sure you have oil or at least halfway through the sight glass.
What kind of a time schedule are we looking at for maintaining the fluid in these things?
On new pumps, we like to go the first 50 hours, you want to change the oil, and then every 500 hours after that.
Is there an hour meter on this machine?
There's actually an hour meter on this machine.
Okay, good. We'll probably see that later.
Okay.
And then one other thing, is this like a Schrader valve or something? I don't...
Yeah, that's
my pump definitely doesn't have this on the cold water.
Well, that's a Schrader valve. That's for winterizing.
Okay.
You just take your standard air compressor, hook it up to that, and it'll evacuate all the water in the system out the discharge.
Okay, we might actually play around with that at the end of the day and see if we can show you that in action. And then, what are these fins? Is this like a computer module or something down here?
That's a heat sink actually for the engine. Since it's an electric start, it does come with a heat sink.
And then I'm guessing this is an oil drain for your
oil drain for
Honda.
the engine.
So we've got the fuel tank on the Honda that runs the Honda, and that is gasoline.
Correct.
And then this is the fuel tank that we use to burn.
For the burner.
So the burner burns fuel to generate heat.
Yes, and that's an 8-gallon fuel tank. It uses diesel fuel, kerosene, or home heating oil.
It'll accept any of those fuels, and because it's not using to run an engine or a motor, it doesn't matter if they're mixed up because you're just burning it essentially.
That's correct.
This is the battery for the electric start, is that right?
That's correct. That's a 12-volt battery. We call that a U1 battery, which just means a utility battery.
In my research on hot water pressure washers, I watched another video and they said they run the burner. It was a different brand, but they run the burner off of the battery. Do you guys do that too?
No, we do it a little differently. We use the battery just to start the engine. The burner actually uses voltage from the engine. We have a little control voltage regulator inside this box over here. And what that does, it converts the AC volts of the engine into DC volts for the burner.
I'm asking because I'm ignorant of why you would or wouldn't, but why wouldn't you use that big battery to power the burner as well?
Well, we find it's much safer not to do that because there could be an instance, maybe that pressure switch sticks and it'll turn that burner on as you're driving down the road, even though the engine's not running.
I see what you're saying. So if this is pulling electricity or has the potential to pull electricity forever from that battery, and this pressure switch fails in some way, this unit could be off, but the burner tries to kick on?
Right.
Oh.
It's taking voltage from the battery.
Would it, and it would burn whatever fuel, I mean, the pump wouldn't be running, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
The engine's not running.
But it still would burn whatever fuel it can, and you could be, like you said, driving down the road with, and that's not good.
Yeah, not good at all.
No, you wouldn't want it. Okay, so the battery is only for starting the engine, and then the Honda produces the voltage needed for the burner itself.
That's correct.
And then getting down to the burner, it looks like we've got oil water separator. Is that a fuel filter on top?
That's correct.
And then
that's the fuel pump.
This is the pump. And is this like what's beyond that?
So what's inside there, that fuel goes inside to a nozzle that atomizes the diesel fuel. And right on the back of that is a transformer that ignites the fuel.
This is the part that lights it up.
That's correct.
And then is this is I guess a blower motor?
So that's the blower motor. There's actually a blower wheel inside there that creates air into the burner, so when it ignites, the exhaust will go out the top.
So this whole apparatus is then what converts the fuel into heat, and the heat goes up into the coil. When you look at a hot water pressure washer, this is obviously the biggest difference, is this giant tank or coil that sits on top. So what does this thing do?
So this is a very unique coil we do. This type of coil has 126 feet of Schedule 80 pipe, and it's called a cool touch coil, which means we don't have any insulation inside this coil. The only insulation we have is maybe 3 inches from the top and about 3 inches from the bottom.
So you're not going to burn yourself if you don't have insulation?
No, you can put your hands right on it as it's running, and it'll feel cool to the touch.
You can touch this while it's on?
That's correct.
I'm assuming if you put your hand over that would be bad,
that
right?
Would get bad.
But you're saying this won't get hot?
Yes, this will not get hot.
You're okay if I test that with a thermometer later, or a temperature gun? Okay.
And this, of course, this coil is a Healy coil design. Most of our competitors we call a pancake design. We find this to be more efficient with less maintenance required.
So I see the little white stuff there. You said that's the insulation that's just at the top. And then the this coil that you're talking about, you're saying there's an outside coil that goes all the way around, and that has the cold water coming up, and that almost serves like an insulation against the inside coil that is then the real hot water?
That's correct.
Okay.
Alkota, we call that our cool wrap coil.
What was the PSI rating on this machine?
So this machine here is 4,000 PSI rated for.
In the video that I watched in my research, a representative from another company said that anybody who advertises that much PSI, you really don't get that because these coils can only handle 3 to 3,500 before you've got, you know, safety issues. Is this really 4,000 PSI?
So for the Alkota brand, that is truly a 4,000 PSI. Our coils can go up to 5,000 PSI working pressure.
Why couldn't those other coils go that high?
They could be using a different type of coil material, maybe a lower schedule than Schedule 80.
So you've got just basically thicker pipes that could handle a higher pressure.
Correct.
Is this the outlet where the hot pressurized water comes out?
Yes.
So I'll hook the hose up to that?
Correct. And this is our thermostat that controls the temperature. So you can set to up to 210 degrees. You can go up to maybe 50 degrees. You can adjust it or leave the burner off.
This is wiring that terminates into a thermostat that's measuring the water right here.
Measure watering temperature.
And that will also control what? Turning the burner on and off if it's too hot?
The burner on or off, right. If you turn this dial, you can set the temperature.
When would I turn the burner on? When I'm ready to work with heat?
Yes, that's correct.
Can I use this machine without the burner on?
Yes, you can.
You could replace a cold water pressure washer with this if you needed the space and you didn't want to have more than one machine to maintain.
Yes.
What is this little guy?
So that is an accumulator, which we use it as a pulsation dampener. It has a pre-charge of nitrogen with a bladder inside, and it acts like a shock absorber in your car. So what it does, it takes out the pulsations out of the pump. You let go of the gun. What that does, it absorbs that shock of that water coming back into the system. So it prolongs the life of the coil, the pump, and all the fittings.
That barb fitting, what is this?
So that's our safety pressure relief valve. So if it ever over pressurizes the system, this blows water out of the barb.
So a couple different safety features. And then you got your nozzle storage there.
And we give you 4 nozzles. We give you a 15-degree nozzle, the yellow. The black nozzle there is a soap nozzle. The green is a 25-degree and the white is a 40-degree nozzle.
You've got a lot of shrouding on this wand. Is that because of the heat to try and keep your hands off it?
Correct. It's just safety. Also, these models are not cheap. So if you need a price when you get one, just contact your local Alkota dealer and he'll be happy to help you out. And so let's just talk about some of the reasons why that is. Our frame it's a powder-coated frame with stainless steel panels, stainless steel wrapper, stainless steel top, high quality, no flat wheels. You have a nice brake here, easy to use, and it's made in USA in a small town called Alcester, South Dakota.
What kind of warranty do we have on these? We're talking about them being a good value long term.
The warranty, the coil is a 7-year warranty, the engine is a 3-year warranty, the pump is a 5-year warranty, and the other items are a 1-year warranty.
I noticed this sticker here, not for sale in California. Is that cancer causing reasons, or because everything causes cancer, or why is that?
Well, no, that's
okay.
So not for sale in California. That it has to do with the new 2024 SOAR requirements, which is small off-road engine. Anything 25 horsepower and below are not allowed to sell into California.
For California folks, are you only selling electric models then?
So we do sell the electric models. This particular model is our 430X4. It's a 220 volt single phase unit. Does 4 gallons a minute, 3,000 PSI.
So the main difference is going to be we've got a big 50 amp plug and an electric motor. We still have a fuel tank because you've got to get the heat by burning it.
Correct. We still have the 8-gallon fuel tank. We do add a float tank to this model. This pump is a belt drive over a direct drive. So that pump is running slower, and we do that purposely so it creates more of a vacuum.
And then that float tank, what are all the extra hoses coming out of it? You said this is just to give the electric motor some consistent flow, but you've got a lot
Dakota Cool feature. It's new from Alkota. And then what that is, we take the bypass from the regulator and we put that through the float tank, and that through a copper pipe, and that actually cools the bypass water down. So that eliminates any overheating in bypass that you might see in your standard residential pressure washers.
And then the controls look a little different. Yeah, that's one of the benefits of electric, is you just flick a switch.
Right.
But
so
you still have your temperature.
And then we have soap over here, chemical, which is high pressure soap. Then you have high pressure rinse. So Brad, let me show you how you do chemicals on this particular model.
So right now, with the one that I have, this little guy, I just drop that into, you know, whatever jug of Zep or Autoban or whatever, so that I can apply chemicals with the machine.
On our discharge side here, quick disconnect, we have what's called a chemical injector. It does have an adjustable chemical in here. You can rotate, and you just put it here, and you take your high pressure hose and put it in this side here, and you put this in your soap, and you have an injector.
So same kind of thing. I'll just drop that in the bucket of whatever,
right,
and it'll dispense out.
That's correct.
Okay. So last thing before we start everything up, as far as safety, obviously you're going to want hearing protection, eye protection, and depending on what you're washing, you probably want a face shield. I don't know if you can see the crud that's on that lens, but this is the splashback that would be getting in my face from the garbage truck if it weren't for a shield. So especially with a hot water pressure washer, that might be a consideration you want. You're going to want some kind of gloves. There are components of this that can get hot. The unshrouded portion of the wand that will get hot enough that you don't want to touch it. Obviously the top of this, which you really shouldn't be touching during operation anyways, there's no reason to. Depending on where you're washing, if you're on the roadway or a street, you're going to want high vis. Toss me that vest. Just in case you don't know what high vis is, it's this. I have on these fancy muck boots. Not only are these ones steel toe, so if this thing were to roll on me for some reason, which it won't because it's got an emergency brake, but that'll protect me there. These are also a lot more comfortable because the bottom of your pants will get really wet when you pressure wash long term. So these things come almost up to my knee. And of course they're muck boots, so they are made to be in wet, oily surfaces and give you better grip and better protection than tennis shoes would. All right, so this is one we picked up. Oh, it's even got a little friend at the bottom. Let's pick that trash out first. As an update, I've been averaging about an hour a week of use on this. I imagine that is going to go up as the business continues to grow. I have figured out a more efficient way to clean the garbage cans that involves laying them down so the pressure washer doesn't push it around. Since the can does have wheels, the pressure washer will just scoot it along if it's standing upright. So I've gotten a little bit more efficient at cleaning both the garbage truck and the garbage cans. When I clean the garbage truck, I'll apply some degreasing detergent at a lower temperature, let that sit for a little bit, and then I'll come back at full heat to rinse and sanitize everything. I always re-grease everything after too. Here's that can we just cleaned, and it did a great job of getting a lot of that dried on stuff off. There's still a few spots that I just missed, but that's the only negative that I've seen, is I can't really see what I'm doing because of how powerful that thing is, and which is a good problem to have as far as I'm concerned. But not only will this melt that stuff off, but because it's so hot, it sanitizes it as well. So even if I've got a used can, it's now sanitized because of the heat that got hit with this. And you know, if I added some kind of chemical agent as well, that would just clean it even better. But you almost don't need it with that hot water. I continue to be amazed at how good the hot water is at cleaning things. I've got the Echo listed for sale. This is going to be my main rig moving forward. So it is something you'll get to see how it handles over the years. There's also a link in the description that has more information on this model. But I always appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you in the next one.